Children involved with the child welfare system commonly experience trauma and uncertainty. While all children who are removed from their homes experience great losses, Native children, families, and communities have compounded complex losses when a removal occurs. Some of the most significant things that children who are removed miss out on include learning and using their ancestral language, their cultural comfort foods, and most importantly, their traditional cultural events and spiritual ceremonies. In an effort to greater understand how a removal can affect a child, a family, or a community, we have interviewed Native peoples from across the country. These interviews are not intended to be a comprehensive list of what can be lost, but we are hopeful that they are reflective of the great impact that all tribal nations feel when they lose a piece of their community, their kin, and their future. Let's listen in on what people have said when we asked them what they felt Native children lost when they were removed from their homes and placed outside their community.
Buju, Adriana Goodwin, Indigenous Cause, Washkuban Asikwe, Ninago, Maingan, Nindudem, Misquagami, Zagaiganing, Nindun Chaba. Greetings, my colonized name is Adriana Goodwin, and I am a citizen of the Red Lake Nation. In Indigenous communities, children are one of our most sacred gifts. And throughout Western colonization and really looking more closely at the history of what is now the United States, you can see throughout time that there has been significant attacks on the children.
My name is Bertha Brown. My friends and relatives call me Birdie. I'm from the Northern Cheyenne Reservation, Lame Deer, Montana, which is in the southeast corner of Montana. I'm also Northern Cheyenne on my mother's side, and my father is Northern Arapaho. When a child is removed from their home, their tribal belief systems, our Cheyenne ways, and placed in a home that is non-native, there's a lot of worry, of course, from the adult side about what is going to happen to that innocent child.
The organization I work for represents 56 tribes in our region, roughly the size of the state of Oregon. First of all, they would miss their mom. And secondly, it would be grandparents or aunts and uncles, and they would be missing, the traditional cultural values.
My name is Carlette Randall. I'm a member of the Oglala Lakota tribe from the Pine Ridge Reservation, and I worked with my tribe and several other child welfare agencies or organizations in the past, as well as a contractor before I came to the Children's Bureau. And I believe that when children are removed from their family, they do lose their extended family, their identity, their feeling of belonging, and the tremendous loss of their extended families.
Malani Yuchat Dusak, Chak Nahatsati, Kagwantan, Kukhitan, Chikakwan. My name is Malani Rodriguez. My traditional name is Kuksani. I am Tlingit tribal member and was born and raised in Juneau, Alaska. When children get removed, they lose that connection. They lose the ability to have their place in their community and in their culture. It's heartbreaking to see the culture shock, the trauma that is put upon them when they get removed from their community, from their state even, and put in non-native families or institutions even. And it just is heartbreaking to see that.
My name is Bernadine Atchison. I am with the Knights Indian tribe, and I am the chairperson for the council. Right now we're raising 4 of our grandchildren. The different things that the kids go through, just not having their mom and dad within the picture, to me reflects how important the culture is. Like, having that relationship of who you are and how it grounds you to where you live, and how you view yourself as a person and as a human being.
My name is Selena. I go by Sina Peak. I am a member of the Confederated Salish Kootenai tribes located on the Flathead Reservation, but I work for the Puyallup tribe as an Indian Child Welfare tribal liaison in courts outside the jurisdiction of tribal courts. I definitely say you lose who you are. Like I said, the language, the cultural traditional practices, child rearing practices, the importance of hair, the importance of ceremony. So I feel like when they get sent out, we lose that and we lose them.
I'm Charla Miller, and I'm a citizen of Cherokee Nation. Prior to coming to the Children's Bureau, I spent 20 years of service with my tribe, the Cherokee Nation, in service to children and families that were in need of reunification and protection services. What I believe, and I've seen with children who are removed from their ancestral home, their families, and placed outside of that boundary, is the yearning to identify. They lose that identity as to who they are, the connection in their community, the connection with their family.
My name is Christina Menard. I go by Chrissy. I'm with the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians, and I'm employed with ACFS, which is Anishinaabe Family and Community Services, as a family service specialist, specializing more so in ICWA. They lose a sense of themselves, and we don't want our children to lose that. We've worked a long time to get that. I get emotional, sorry. But to be able to know that if they're taken away from their family and they're taken away from their community, they're losing that sense of belonging, sense of themselves.
Children are traumatized when they're removed. Yes. That trauma, that when you're removed from your village, you're just being removed from your whole world, the world that you came to, meaning you start thinking. And our children, when they grow up in the village and start to see what's around their world, that's their world. When they're plucked out of their world, that traumatizes the children, so that even though what the agencies are doing might think it's safe to remove the child and bring them someplace else, they're actually setting those children up to someday, that memory is going to be painful.
Traditionally, if you're, anytime a child is removed from their home or and not even being around their parents or grandparents, the stresses that they go through of identifying where do I belong? This is a strange place that I'm in. I don't know these people. They act different. They do different things than what I'm used to doing. So how do I fit in and feel safe about, who am I supposed to be? And how do I move on in life and feeling good about who I am?
My name is Angela Connor. I am a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and also Chickasaw. Previously, I've worked for the past 20 years for tribes in Oklahoma, and this past year, I joined the Children's Bureau as a Child and Family Services Program Specialist. These children often feel displaced. They are used to having extended family around, very different than the nuclear family. They're used to having aunts and uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, grandparents involved in their life. So once removed and placed in a nuclear family outside of the community, there's really a sense of loneliness, scaredness, feeling disconnected.
My name is Miranda Rojas. I'm a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe on the reservation in Idaho, located in Plummer, Idaho. It's a beautiful res. I'm a caseworker as well for the Coeur d'Alene tribe. I think they lose their identity of their indigeneity of being native. You're tossed out of a place that you knew and grew up. A lot of kids grew up on the reservation, and then we're sending them to unknown territories that they don't know, and it's white man territory, and not a lot of places cater to Native culture and traditions.
Kawatsi, Dushinametu Maitsa Eshet Osha Chanushta Koewashta. Hello, my name is Donalyn Saraceno, and I am from the Pueblo of Acoma. When tribal children are removed from their indigenous communities, they miss out on so much. And I'm just reflecting back, my Pueblo, the Pueblo of Acoma, just recently had one of our biggest feast days of the year. And so thinking about all of that a child would miss out of, right? The dancing, the community, the food, knowing, right, that they have not just their immediate family, but that they have so much extended family, and that their community really is their family. I don't think that it's just the child who misses out on that. I think that it's also their children and their grandchildren. And so they really miss out on knowing who they are and where they come from, and having the support and the love and the care from from so many people around, and being able to participate in those activities. So I think it's such it's catastrophic. I think what removing children from their homelands does, because it's not just them, right? Like, it's their children and their children's children that are going to miss out, and that are also not going to know any of that. So I think it's really important that we work not just for our children today, but also for our children who haven't been born yet. So they have that understanding that they belong, and that they're important to their entire community.
Another thing that children lose when they're separated from their families, especially in a permanent setting, is the clanship. Most tribes are matrilineal, and their clan that they are born into is severed once the tie to that mother or that matriarchal line is severed. So not only do children lose the access to the culture, to things such as their pottery, which is something that is within the Cherokees is extremely important in their arts, in their skills, is pottery, finger weaving, copper work, beadwork, basketry. Those things are all lost because those traditions are handed down through the clan and through the matrilineal line and through traditions from elders. So when they're separated from the access to those elders, that is a significant loss to not only the child, to the families, and to the culture. And that disconnects that forever line of succession in a clan that child is not able to pass on because the access to the matrilineal line is terminated. So that is something that's very significant that many people don't understand, that's lost when children are placed outside of that family, that tribe, and that community is something that is forever lost through that process.
Clinkets are also a matrilineal matrilineal culture where our clans follow the mother's lineage. And so when we do get disconnected, and from my own experience, I was a runaway homeless youth. I was disconnected. I was ashamed of being Tlingit. I didn't know who my clan was for a long time until I was about late teens. Didn't have a Tlingit name. So I really struggled with knowing who I was, feeling of where do I belong? And just my journey has been one where I've been just finding me and learning my traditional values, and my culture has been beautiful, and hope that other children like me have that opportunity.
Tribal people are very cultural and spiritual people, and so there's things that happen and then they get tainted by others who may not understand such thing as smudging or using sage, sweetgrass, feathers, or different type of ceremony and things, powwows, over here basket weaving, canoe journey, on the canoe. Back home for us, we're hunter-gatherers, so I feel like they lose that sense of who they are. They don't understand how hair is important to our culture, our language.
They learn how to sing, they get their name, we have naming ceremonies. The summer is a real important time in our culture because it's our new year. So that's when our big ceremonies happen. That's when we go and harvest wild berries, and the kids know how to do that. They harvest them. They help making jams and drying fruit. They also have their naming ceremony. They learn how to do beadwork. They paint. They harvest sage for ceremonies, cedar, and they learn how to pray, because that's a big time in the summertime. Our new year is about prayer for the rest of the year. So we pray for everything that is on earth, but in the universe. So it's a real big part of children's lives, and it grounds them to their culture. So I think that those are things that really make who they are and be part of their culture, and they're centered not only in their families, but their extended families, their communities, the society, and the universe. So it's a critical time for kids to learn, especially in the summertime. And that's what they would lose when they are removed and placed far from their communities and their families.
Most tribes now have a language revitalization program where our children and our grandchildren are learning to speak our language, which is just really wonderful. A lot of our activities, we enjoy stickball now. We have stomp dances, powwows. So it's just a really wonderful time to see this revitalization. So if you ask, well, are these things still prevalent today? They are very prevalent, and they're coming back at even greater levels.
When we remove children from a community, it's a total disconnect from who they are. We know now today that connection between a child and their community and their mother, their father, their extended families provides those necessary supports of love, of connection, that is so needed in the development of a child.
Each morning in our villages, parents and grandparents, when children wake up, the first thing they hear in the morning is meaning, please love your family and friends today. So that's the number one teaching that we tell our children each morning before breakfast, to be able to get ready for school, is to be kind to your family and friends today.
I consider all tribal members family because they're my community, they're my brothers and sisters. We're all related. I really enjoyed when the speaker said that we shouldn't call them clients, we should call them our relations.
Our relatives. Yeah.
Our relatives, and I really like that. That's what we need to decolonize that and step back to that.
With many tribes and children in native settings, there is a relationship that's unique, in that we all are from one fire. We all are from a connective blood line of succession. And trauma is one of those that it causes to children to be disconnected from that feeling of connectivity, and being put in places where that children don't look like them, or children don't have the same practices, the same beliefs, the same looks as they do, and children struggle to identify where they are, who they came from, and the loss of self-identity.
So roles are important within our Tlingit culture, where children do play a vital role, serving elders and going and learning how to subsist on their land, learning how to be good stewards of their land. Their traditional foods are probably much different than Western society or other states, especially in Alaska, where we subsist for our food. I remember bringing my children out, cockle digging, if you even know what that is. We eat herring eggs. We learn how to harvest and smoke fish, and it's really a cultural opportunity to gather as a family, as a community, and every child has their role, where we assign, the aunties get to assign, you are going to be manning the smokehouse, and you are going to be cutting the fish.
In Sioux City, Iowa, we have a Memorial March. This year's our 23rd year. So 23 years ago, we had a protest against the Iowa DHS. A lot of our native children were getting adopted out, never to come back. We call them the lost birds that never came home. And so when a child does come home, they don't know nothing about their culture. Some of the homes that they've gone through torture, gone through abuse, sexually, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So they come back broken. And so in order to heal those children, we have talking circles, prayer circles. We have our ceremonies that we take them through, so we can resurrect their spirit, so to speak, because their spirits are broken. Not just broken, shattered. Same thing with the heart, broken because they're away from the people.
I can only think about as me being removed. I didn't feel native. I felt like I was stuck in this white foster home trying to maintain, and some foster homes were racist. They labeled me, oh, that's my Indian girl. And I would always say, I got a name. My name's Miranda. And being with that, it's trauma, because you grow up not knowing if you're native enough, if you're really part of your tribe, because you've been taken away overnight.
Another thing that children lose when they are removed from their community is the aspect of, and is related to their sense of belonging and their sense of identity, is all the cultural practices that they grew up with, that they are learning to participate in ceremonies, learning their role in that ceremony. Their behavior is monitored. And it's usually by the whole community, the relatives, aunties, uncles. They become parents. And so they miss that bond they have with their immediate family, but with their extended family as well. They might have a favorite relative, and in our tribe, it's usually the grandma. And of course, their siblings and their parents, but there's always a significant person in their life that they lose when they're removed. And oftentimes these children are removed from long distances where it's very difficult for their family members to travel to go to the other side of the state, and usually placed in a non-native home. So they feel a lot of hardships as well as their family and ultimately their tribe.
There's the sense of loss of culture, community. In tribal communities, it's a together we're more. That's the philosophy of the Choctaw Nation, that together we are more. We come together as community and family to support our children. It's a really holistic perspective. And so these children want to reconnect. Oftentimes they'll contact us after they're 18 and say, "Can you tell me who my family is? I never felt like I really belonged where I was at. I was different. There was something missing."
Some of the other importance of children staying within their cultures is not only the sovereignty and continuing on the legacy and keeping cultures alive, but languages are important. My children know more Tlingit than I do. And so they're teaching me and I'm learning from them. And there are
Many children and families in the regions that I've worked live in a very close community, communal living. They're raised by aunts and grandparents and cousins, and that's a tremendous loss children see when they're removed from their parents, is the loss of community and blood connection to those that are significant parts in their life.
Why or what should I do to be the human being that I need to be? There's a lot of challenges out there, and if you don't have that family relationship, you don't know if you basically belong.
But when you rip that child from community, then you're disconnecting them from worldviews, language, knowledge of medicines, knowledge of all of those things that have contributed to Indigenous peoples being able to not only survive in the climate of North America, but to thrive in these climates. The songs, the music, the ways of being, it took generations and generations for those things to fine-tune. And when you remove a child from their environment, it's a total disconnect then from everything that their DNA, their bodies, their ways of being is just, again, a total disconnect. And that's why it's so important that we keep Native children in their communities, because we have such a deep connection to place.
We all are still trying to find ourselves and rebuild our communities from the generational losses that we've had. So what we do have, we want to keep. And we want to make sure that our next generation is getting that.
Thank you for taking time to listen to Native voices from across the country. We hope that these perspectives will help to inform your work, policies, and practices. If you would like to take some time to reflect on what you have heard, we have a document of reflection prompts available for you on the Tribal Information Exchange's Professional Development webpage.